Howdy, friends. Steve DePaul here with the Rose Realty team with this week's real estate vlog for North Texas. Today, our topic is aging in place. Interesting topic in terms of the what we're calling the housing shortage, especially here in North Texas and frankly throughout the country. Before I get started, hey, I wanna mention something I mentioned at the end of last week's vlog. Hey, I hope you're tuning in to my weekly live presentation on Wednesdays. You can find it in Facebook in the 1 Minute Real Estate group or room. I talk about real estate for about, well, it's really more like 3 minutes, but I talk about some up-to-date real estate topic, like real quick. We talked about rent prices, and we talked about we talked about whether it's better to rent or buy, and whether it's still a good time to buy or sell, and how the recession or rising interest rates is going to affect the market, and whether we're going to have a boom or a bust in real estate. Anyway, Wednesday on Facebook around noon every day. Plus there's a recording. So I hope you tune into that. Anyway, enough of the commercials. Aging in place. Let's talk about that. So baby boomers right now aren't in a rush to move, right? Baby boomers got a house. They like the house. That's where they've raised their family. They've got all these precious memories in the house. They probably set it up the way they wanted to, in terms of they just redid the kitchen, or they've got a pool in the backyard. They got it fenced in. You know, that's where they raised their 3.2 kids, and the 2.1 dogs are in the backyard, and all that kind of jazz. It's in the neighborhood they want. They've got their friends around them that they want. So they're not in a really huge rush to move into something else, right? Now, if you compare the baby boomers versus the silent generation, okay, the silent generation is the generation between baby boomers and the greatest generation. So that's sort of our parents, sort of generation, right? The baby boomers passed the silent generation in terms of combined real estate wealth in 2001. Okay, that was roughly 37 years after the youngest baby boomer was born. Okay, so the baby boomers did real quick. They got real quick in there. They got the houses that they wanted. They saw what their parents and then the greatest generation had done, and they said, hey, I want that. Okay, I want a house or a condo or a townhouse, or I want a house or multiple houses, and I want a big house with a pool and all that kind of stuff, because they wanted better for themselves. Just like their parents wanted. Their parents wanted better for them than they had, and they wanted better for themselves than their parents had. And so they kind of rushed the deal a little bit, if you will. They pushed on it. They worked hard. They had dual income families and that kind of stuff. And so they surpassed the silent generation in terms of who held the most amount of wealth in 2001. So if we talk about the other organizations, the other groups, Gen Xers right now hold around 31%. Gen Xers are the ones that came after baby boomers. Hold around 31% of the nation's real estate wealth, where the baby boomers are maintaining around 44%. Okay, so baby boomers bought the houses that they want. They fixed them up, and they're holding on to them. They're holding out about 44%, which is, close to 50% of the nation's, housing or real estate wealth. So what's the problem with all of this? Okay, there simply isn't enough new construction and new houses being built to kind of satisfy everybody, right? We've got a soaring demand for houses because the people following baby boomers, so again, the Gen Xers and the Gen Ys and the millennials and all of that, they want houses. They want affordable housing, They want a nice yard and a pool where they can take their dogs out back and all that kind of stuff, and the kids can play in the yard on the trampolines and all that. We never had trampolines when we were kids. What's the deal with trampolines? But anyway, those generations, they want the same stuff that the baby boomers, the silent generation, and the great generation wanted, but they're being kind of eked out a little bit because the baby boomers are holding on to the houses longer. Okay, so the rising prices and all of that is due in part to the fact that Number one, the boomers are holding on to the houses longer, and fewer houses are being built. Now, why are fewer houses being built? So there's two answers right now. Immediately, right now is because of COVID and the supply chain shortage and all of that kind of jazz. But longer term, into the past, a big part of the problem is the restrictions placed on the logging in the wood industry that, frankly, not to point fingers, but the Gen Xers and the millennials kind of pursued because of the green movement and all of that. And so they kind of clamped down on the logging industry and the wood industry and the pulp industry and all of that, which meant there is the fewer trees to cut down, which then gets us not as much wood to build homes in, and so therefore there's fewer homes being built. Okay, so chickens coming home to roost, I guess you could say, right? But there is an agreement between all of these groups, right? The baby boomers, the Gen Xers, and the millennials are all upbeat about the future of the housing market, right? Everybody, and this is based on a study that took place in June. The large majority of all of these individual groups think that to describe housing and real estate as a good investment, which is also a shift. Okay. So basically the silent generation and the greatest generation never kind of thought of housing and homes as an investment. Okay, it was always frankly a place to live, to raise your family, to provide one of Maslow's things of hierarchy in terms of security for your family and protection for your family and that kind of stuff. But it was never really an investment. And that kind of shifted a little bit with the baby boomers and the fact that the housing market is just skyrocketing, and the fact that right now the medium equity that people in the United States have in their home is around $240,000. It's probably more out here in North Texas. So now what people are saying is, oh, I could cash, this is an investment for me, and I could do one of two things. I can either cash in that equity with a HELOC or home equity loan or something like that, and I can buy an investment property, or I could use that to buy a second home, or geez, look, if I sell my current home, I can get 240 out of it, put that down on a bigger, larger, more expensive home, but then my mortgage might remain the same. Okay, so a lot of shifting in terms of thinking, in terms of the real estate market out there and the various generational groups that we talk about. Very cool information. Next week we're going to talk about. So next week is going to be we're getting into October, and we're going to talk about cold weather maintenance for your house. Okay, then this is going to span not only North Texas but kind of the rest of the country. So maintenance we should be doing on our homes as we get ready for the colder weather. This is Steve DePoe with the Rose Realty team. I'm going to bounce.